Dr. Ben Carson has written the foreword of this book. It's called The Miracles in You. Dr. Ben Carson has been on our program several times. And welcome back to our program, the author of this book, The Miracles in You. I'm talking about Mark Victor Hansen, who also has just moved a few of those books called Chicken Soup of the Soul. Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
You are contagious. There's no doubt about it. We're having...
That's my prayer.
Yeah, well, we are having just a great time here talking about miracles, biblical miracles, and celebrating them. But also, our guest says that there's a miracle that takes place in you and around you almost all the time. And I'm curious about it. You go through three concepts or aspects of miracles. You talk about the importance of believe the miracle. And then we spent some time talking in prior moments about see the miracle. And then you personalize it here. You talk about how you can be the miracle. So this is proactive. It's like we become a part of that miracle story.
Absolutely. But let's talk about one of the guys you just talked about, Dr. Ben Carson.
Yes.
He and I have been very blessed. Both of us are close friends. He and Candy and Crystal and I are all buds. But he's in Horatio, Algiers. But his story starts out so relatable to everybody in the room. His mother is 13 years old, San Diego, pregnant, no husband. This is long ago now. Remember, Ben's like 60-something, and says, where can I go get a job? She goes to Detroit, because that's the only place. And what she does at 13 years old, being illiterate, is screw on nuts on a tire on a car. I don't know if you know this part of the story.
I did not.
So Ben is in 3rd grade and failing out and just getting beat up all the time. And his mom says, young man, you are going to go down to that bookmobile. You're going to get 2 books, read them every week, and I'm going to highlight it and check it and okay it. He has no idea that she can't read. She cannot read. She does not know how to read. So she is just check marking and doing K's on it. He doesn't know it. 3rd grade to 4th grade, he goes from the bottom class to top of class. All the smart kids who used to knock him and say, you're just a dumb black kid, suddenly say, holy cow, what is Abyssinian? He asked some really sophisticated.
Oh, yeah.
Anyhow, ends up with a scholarship to medicine at Yale, goes to Yale. There's room for 2 guys at Johns Hopkins to do pediatric neurosurgery, the most dangerous operation in the world, because if your kid, we've got 5 kids and 5 grandkids, if you take one of your kids in to the doctor, you want that kid to live, so this is like high stress, high tension. Anyhow, goes in and the guy is listening to long hair music by Mozart. Ben starts talking. They talk for 4 hours. Ben gets into Johns Hopkins. Turns out he is the chairman emeritus of the department. Done 15,3 zeros, pediatric neurosurgeries. Split the 2 Siamese twins, an operation no one had ever even tried. He worked on it for 6 months figuring out how to do it. Kids lived. All the kids are still alive. Best part of the story, mother's now 89 years old. Ben, I get goosebumps on this. This is so chicken soupy. Ben pays for her to go back to college. Do you know this? And she just got her PhD at 89 years old.
I didn't know that.
If you're a good kid, right? You said we're talking about being the miracle, seeing the miracle, experiencing the miracle, expanding the miracles, and expanding the miracles. Why shouldn't you take care of your mother? You couldn't pass
today, as we're broadcasting this, we've been waiting for 4 months for AT&T to get a landline. Why my mother has wireless, I don't know, but we're trying to get a landline into my mother's house today for her phone because she wears the necklace, the alert thing. And if we can get AT&T to be at my mother's home today to install a landline, my friend, that's a miracle. That's a miracle.
By the way, I can't get AT&T to work where I live, so I don't know how you're. By the way, you out there, I wish we could change. I have problems. I wrote books with Art Linkletter, who is just
the master.
Art is the master maestro.
What a man! Yes.
Yeah, he was so funny. And my wife, who's one of 9's father, and Art ran all the Kentucky Fried Chicken in Mexico together. They're just best friends. So Art just loved her and loved me. And well, he just passed away, but he was funny. My mother loved 2 Arts, Art Linkletter and Arthur Godfrey, both great. Communicators,
can't
radio and
guys.
TV.
Yeah, can't beat those guys.
But Art was on 3 TV shows, never happened again like this, ABC, NBC, and CBS, and walked from one to the other and did all 3 shows every day. And then he opens up Disneyland with obviously Walt Disney, his best friend, and they'd gone to Denmark, my family's home country, to Tivoli, and that's what made Walt say, we're going to do this. And Walt says, hey, I've got not enough money to pay you, and I can't even pay union wages. Art, what would you like? He says, I want all the Kodak exhibits at all the Disneys forever. Well, Kodak, back when they were smart, and they forgot to do, they invented Digit and didn't run it, and then lost a $38 billion business. So the miracle is you got to make sure you take a right and you're prayed up, which is what we've done throughout the book, is say, be prayed up to get your miracle. And Walt Disney obviously wasn't, and Art Linkletter obviously was, and got all the Kodak exhibits forever. Isn't that cool?
That is a great story. You talk in this book, though, about people who understand that you want people to come to an understanding that they can be participants or sponsors in what becomes a God-given miracle. The very fact that God speaks to them to do something to help contribute to the miracle. I think of the boy in the Bible who had the fish and the bread. He had, the Bible tells us that he had 2 small fish. He had some barley loaves. Barley was the cheapest of grains. So by the world standards, what he had was cheap and small. And yet he placed what was cheap and small into the hands of Jesus, and he participated in a miracle of Jesus Christ.
Exponential multiplication to feed
thousands.
By the way, we're told that there are 5,000, but they only counted men then.
That's right.
So they didn't count the kids.
There were probably 20, 25,000 there.
Probably 15, 20, whatever it is.
Yeah.
A large number. Yeah. And when it was done, he still had 12 baskets left over.
Gather up the fragments that remain.
That's right. We deal with two points there, it seems to me, John. Number one is we got a God of surplus, right? And God said, my cup runneth over. And I happen to be doing some videotapes on something else right now. And one of my friends, Jim Rohn, says, if your cup doesn't run over, it's because your cup's upside down. And I say, well, look, if your cup runs over, just get a bigger cup. You know, it doesn't matter. The point is you're supposed to think through what this means, what David was telling us. And Jesus said, first of all, and don't waste anything. That's the problem in America today. We squander stuff. And what does it mean not to waste? I love clothes and attire, but when I'm done with it, I give all of it to Goodwill, Salvation Army, or the church thrift store.
Stores,
and the reason is somebody else needs it. And I want somebody else to make the money and all that. Look, I've been more blessed than almost anybody on the planet, but I'm trying to get everybody else to understand. Everybody out there watching has miracle blessings to abound. The joke I heard from Warren Buffett is you should feel like a mosquito in a nudist colony. And you say, well, does Warren Buffett Warren Buffett's made more money now giving more, and you know that we know what the Last Supper is, but you know he and Bill Gates did the First Supper?
Which is?
Which is, he brought the richest, we have all the billionaires, and he brought all of them together, but there's 2 parts, and I was just with him, so you got to hear this story. This is so good. So Buffett and Gates say, look, we want you to give at least half of it away during your lifetime. You know, and if you're a billionaire, giving it half away means you're only down to 500 million. Well, he's given it away and gotten more. I mean, that's the law, right? Malachi 3:10.
And given it shall be given.
And it's pressed down, all that good stuff.
Right.
But we're going to, till your rooms overflow. And that's really what's happened with Buffett. I mean, and I won't go through all the new stuff he bought, but he said 20% of the people said, I can't get by. So he says, I'm writing a new book, How to Get By in 500 Million a Year. And he says, I couldn't believe it that they wouldn't give. I mean, you can't eat any better, you can't drive any better, you can't fly any better. I mean, he owns NetJets. I mean,
yes, he does.
And he said, look, we all got to give. And he said, and that's the whole principle of miracles abound when you start saying, hey, wait a second, I'm going to mentally go from lack and shortage to surplus and plenty and abounding, and I'm going to make sure my cup runs over. But not only for me, I'm going to teach it to my kids and my grandkids. I'm going to help out, right? Acts 1:8 says, take care of you and your family, then take care of your little community, then your city, then the language a little different, but state, and then I think we can take care of the world, and it's thinking, and people in North America are the ones that have got to do the right thinking because the world is depending on us.
So, Mark, so much of unleashing a miracle in you, it seems to me, goes back to us determining that we will be generous, that we'll be others focused, that it will not be about us, but it will be about others. Is that a key to unlocking the miracle?
And you've got to be prayed up. The first story we have, Crystal and I are in a little grocery store, and the guy behind doesn't know I'm writing a book on miracle, and he said, I just had a miracle in my life, and I thought, holy cow, boy, I'm talking to God, and this guy's telling me he had a miracle. I said, well, tell me about it. He said, well, my wife, we got a little old car, and it's not doing that well, but she's driving down where we live in California, PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, right on the ocean, and all of a sudden she goes and hits the brake, and it doesn't stop. And she said, my gosh, there are people on the street, and there's cars, and it's a red light, and I go through it, and she said, it's like God swished all the people away, and then all of a sudden I crashed into a tree so I didn't hurt anyone. And he said, I said, okay, that is a miracle. She didn't get hurt, and the car's crashed and trashed, but said, didn't hit any pedestrians, didn't hit any other car. How do you account for that? The guy said, because we're prayed up. And see, everybody needs to be prayed up. Most people go, I don't need to pray tonight. No, 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 you got to pray. Paul said without ceasing, unless I got the line wrong, but I think I got it right. And what does that mean? It means when you wake up, pray for the miracles. When you go to bed, pray for the miracles. And pray for the miracles for yourself, for your spouse, for your kids, for the teachers in the school. One of our 5 kids is a great teacher. For business people, pray for the leadership of the country and the leadership of the world. All of us got to do some serious praying up, it seems to me.
That is so good. That is so good. This is the book. It's called The Miracles in You. It's by Mark Victor Hansen, who has been on top for a long time as a best-selling, New York Times best-selling author. Chicken Soup for the Soul, between 500 and 600 million copies sold worldwide. Just a delight, a real benediction, a blessing to us here at 100 Holly Street. I know he's been a blessing to you as you've watched him. Now, this book is available to you. When you call and make a donation to us, a generous gift our way to help the miracle of 100 Huntley Street continue, we would love to send this to you as an expression of our thanks. And this can help grow and develop your view of miracles and how you can become used by God as a change agent to add value to the lives of other people. Would you please give us a call? We'd love to send this to you. Mark Victor Hansen, thank you so very much.
My pleasure.
Continued success, and God bless you, and may you continue to abound in miracles.
Thank you.